Hey Suzanne, my hair's a mess today, please forgive me. Just kidding. I was trying to make an official video that I could share publicly, and I was feeling like too much, like you needed your own video because you're going into your personal retreat now, soon, in a couple days. So I just wanted to offer some things because you're doing 3 days, I think. And when I did my retreat for 6 days, not that long ago, it was guided. It was through a retreat center. It was part of a, kind of a Buddhist mindfulness meditation, like a whole program and everything. And so it's really, I felt it's actually kind of different a little bit than doing an at-home retreat where you're just kind of spending time just with yourself and for yourself. So I want to mostly encourage you that first, it's really awesome that you're doing it. Really, really good that you're doing it. So great that you've set this intention for yourself to take a personal retreat, 3 days personal retreat, which is amazing, and at home, and a digital detox. Some people call it like a dopamine fast, kind of really not doing all the typical things that give you those little shots of dopamine that make you feel good, that cover up all the stuff. I imagine that's partly why you're doing it, is you're feeling overwhelmed and it's not really working for you in the end. Just like, it doesn't really work for any of us. So, some of the things that are suggested for a personal retreat, and you can decide what these are for you, are to abstain from drugs and alcohol, abstain from sexual activity, of course, abstain from all digital stuff, such as TV, movies, social media, email, texting, calling, so on and so forth, all of those things, even sometimes not listening to music, as well as not talking, not so much interacting with other people, but really making it kind of a silent, personal thing as well. So, you kind of get to decide what of that list of things you want to keep and what you don't. I suggest really sticking to all of that. If you want to listen to music, I think it's fine to listen to music, but maybe keep it real, like ambient music, not a lot of lyrics, not a lot of messages. But if you want to listen to something where there's more chanting or mantra or just good sounds, I think that's a really good way to go if you want to listen to music. And then for some retreats, it's suggested that there isn't any reading or journaling or writing. And I'm not sure for a personal retreat that that's really the best advice. So decide, what kind of things you want to do with yourself during your personal retreat while you're not spending your time online. Creative projects are really good. I know that I like to paint, I like to draw. When I did a personal, just 1 day retreat a couple months ago, and I went and gathered sticks from outside and got a bunch of yarn and made a big God's eye, So do a creative project, but not a creative, you could do creative projects, but not creative projects that contribute to anything except for just the pure enjoyment of doing them. So not repainting your bathroom or making art for a friend or for money or anything like that. Just do something you love doing because you love doing it. So anyway, kind of make a list of things that you can do, whether that's, you just want to take a long, luxurious bath, you want to go on long walks, you want to take naps, you want to sleep in, maybe you want to cook some good food, maybe you want to read, you want to journal, and then of course there's, dancing around the living room if you want to do that, and doing yoga and, kind of the mindful movement stuff, of course, and that paired with the practice of being and sitting, not trying to fill all your time with doing. So that's kind of doing stuff that you can make a list that you want to do of things, but ultimately the practice is to just be, to sit and be, and to not do anything, to not accomplish anything, to not achieve anything, even in terms of self-growth, even in terms of change. Is so much is just the practice of letting down and just being. So I would say, since you have 3 days, maybe sit down and you could even write out a schedule for each day if you find that helpful, because I know you were a little concerned, a little worried about, oh gosh, what if I don't stick to it? What if what if your self-control gets, you end up going online, or you end up, I don't know what you're afraid you might end up doing. Not sticking to your commitment, I think, is what that sounds like more than anything. But a schedule could help with that, and also a lot of grace. Like when I did my 6-day retreat, it was guided, it was through a retreat center, it was all through Zoom, so I had to make accommodation for being the digital thing by showing up for those classes. And I also made accommodation by doing yoga classes on YouTube with my favorite yoga instructor, because all that sitting was too much. But the first couple of days were rough. Like, mindful eating is not my favorite thing, and eating slow and stopping when I'm full. Like, I love to eat. And so even the first day was a half day. And I was like, it's not my first full day of retreat, so I should probably finish this bottle of wine, so it's not sitting here and I'm not tempted by it. And then the next day I was like, oh, I made a big breakfast, and then we had this big break, and I made a big lunch, and then I made a big dinner, and then the day after that I made a big breakfast, and I got to lunch, and I made a big lunch, and by the time I sat down to meditate that afternoon, I was sick. I didn't feel good. So mindful eating is not my favorite. I like to eat fast, and I like to eat a lot, and it brings me comfort, it brings me joy, it's all these things. So that one was a tough one for me, because you can't just cut out eating, right? So you might have your things too where you really miss your little dopamine boosts online, or texting, or talking, or calling people, or whatever your thing is. So just know that, I'm into this stuff. I practice this stuff, and it's not easy. It's not always easy. So you might decide to finish the bottle of wine, or whatever your version of that is. And that's okay. Just have grace. After you do that, whatever that thing is, then go sit in silence and see how you feel. And I think that was really the biggest shift for me, is if you do end up engaging in something that you didn't mean to engage in, that you didn't have intentions to engage in, that you don't want to engage in because you're trying to practice something different, it's totally okay that you did. The practice is not adding the second arrow to that, okay? So you already did the thing you didn't want to do. You don't feel good about it. Don't add the shame and guilt to it either. Instead, just go sit with yourself, and listen to what that feels like in your body and in your mind, and even listen to the voices that are judging and shaming and telling you that you're failing or not doing a good job, or whatever your voices say to you. And have some understanding for where they came from. Maybe that's the voice of your mom, or your dad, or someone else in your life, an ex-partner, whatever, that you've carried with you. But so much of it is just observing. So I say make a schedule, and in that schedule, really leave a lot of time. Just, in that schedule, just say you're going to sit for an hour. You're going to sit outside. You're going to pull a chair out onto the grass or into the shade, and you're just going to sit. Going to sit, and you're going to watch, and you're going to listen, and you're going to observe. And set time aside to do your meditations. I think if you want to use the Insight Timer app and do some guided meditations, or use the timer. I love using the actual timer on Insight Timer, which is the original component to the whole app. Set your timer for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. Maybe if you're not used to sitting in silence and you're used to doing more guided meditations, this is a great opportunity to practice sitting in silence. Maybe set the timer for 25 minutes and do that 4 times in a day, 4 25-minute sessions in a day. Or, then the next day, work that up to 35-minute sessions, and then, or maybe do 2 45-minute sessions. Just try to work up to maybe some longer sessions of sitting in stillness and in silence comfortably. I think that's one of our best teachers, is sitting in and watching our minds go. Watching our minds just go. Because you already meditate, I think you probably know a lot of the principles, but the principles of Vipassana meditation are just basically just sitting and feeling the sensations, feeling your senses, listening, feeling your body, feeling your breath moving in and out, feeling the taste inside your mouth, feeling your skin. One really good meditation that I did during my 6-day retreat was just sitting and feeling your body as awareness, like pulsing in space. Like, so I could feel my heartbeat, or I could feel anxiety coming up because of my thoughts or something. And I would just feel that sensation as if just that sensation, or just the pain in my hip, was just pulsing in outer space. And it's a really fascinating way to just connect with your existence. But I say too, pick some of your favorite authors, if you like reading Pema Chodron or Eckhart Tolle, or, I don't know, any of the really good ones, or poetry, and take time to read, and then maybe sit in meditation and contemplation, or journal about those things. But take it easy, mix it with some real good self-care, and be willing to be bored, be willing to be uncomfortable. That's so much of the practice, is like, okay, this is what boredom feels like. This is what discomfort feels like. And just noticing those things, that's so much of the point, is these aren't bad things. And then not trying to push it away, push away the bad, and then grasp for the things that are good, right? We tend to do that. That's what I was doing with my eating at the beginning of my retreat. It was grasping at that thing that made me feel better. So, and it's not meant to be the, an arrow for you to judge yourself with if you don't, if you try to get out of your boredom, or you try to get out of your discomfort. It's just more, oh, oops, I totally just, went on an unconscious trip to escaping from my discomfort or my boredom, and now I'm going to come back and I'm going to sit and I'm going to keep trying. So do both. Do all the things. Do the comforting things, do the loving things, do the kind things, do the things you really need and want, and be willing to sit with the difficult things too. And enjoy it. And enjoy the stillness. I cried quite a bit before I went into my retreat, and then I cried almost during every meditation that I did for 6 days. And it wasn't really for anything bad or sad. It was more just the relief, the relief of being, the relief of finally getting to just be. So let yourself feel that relief too. And, I think you're good. You know what you're doing. You know that you need it. And that's the important thing. And so, you can always tell yourself, this will be over before I know it. And remind yourself, this is what you really want. Have a mantra. My mantra was, I graciously receive the infinite love of the universe. That was my mantra. Or I am loving awareness. That's a mantra by Ram Dass. But yeah, I think you're all right. Just do real loving stuff. Be loving with yourself. Be gracious. Be kind. You're not perfect. This isn't supposed to be perfect. It's not about perfection. You know that. Meditation is not about doing it perfect. Mindfulness is not about perfection. It's about growing in awareness of yourself and of the world around you, and being in stillness with yourself, being in silence with yourself, being in personal retreat where it's just you with you is one of the most healing and beautiful things you can do. And when it gets hard, that's when you get to practice a deep, unconditional, compassionate love for yourself, which makes you a deeply more loving and compassionate person for other people. And now I'm just kind of talking to talk, but yeah, I'd say just make a schedule, prepare your home, prepare your space, make it really lovely and nice before you get to the first day of your retreat. Just have everything in order, little candles and your yoga mat and your cushions and your blankets and the cozy, wonderful things you want to wear and the beauty products you want to use and the food you're going to cook. Just, you know, really set yourself up for a lot of comfort and enjoyment. Okay? Thank you for the question. Talk to you soon.